Jose Mourinho. We treated it like a friendly, Sean. That was Chelsea's 2-0 defeat at Newcastle yesterday, a defeat that hurt Mourinho and hurt their title ambitions. What happened?
And weren't Newcastle superb?
Oh, sorry, yeah. No,
Yeah,
let's talk
that's right.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, they were brilliant defensively, throwing themselves into everything. On the attack, looked very good when they broke out. Chelsea, I'll accept, we're not the Chelsea you expect, but Newcastle really yesterday. Sometimes it's not often Newcastle, and I've watched them for lots and lots of years, really surprise you. They tend to do predictable things, lose to who you expect them to lose to, and they don't do really surprising. And yesterday, given all the background that's been going on in Newcastle and protests against Ashley and all of that, and losing to Sunderland, you feel the place was very flat, and they produced a performance like that, and it got me off my seat anyway. I mean, yes. It was good, really good, but I'll accept. Chelsea were poor. They were highlighting a tackle by David Luiz on TV, which was really insipid. Sort of summed up the whole performance. The thing that Mourinho felt weren't properly committed. Strange, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was
they should be like that.
Henry, on Tuesday night, Steve Holland, the assistant manager at Chelsea, said that Mourinho in his team talk before the Arsenal game said, "Give me a selection dilemma for the weekend." The players went out. They won that Capital One Cup tie against Arsenal, and then yesterday, the players that he did pick lost 2-0 at Newcastle, and he said, "I made 11 mistakes with my team selection. 11 mistakes. That's the feeling I have when my team plays so badly."
Yeah, I still think they need a top-class centre forward, or for Torres to be given a run of games. There's still always that doubt about whether Torres he's got sort of total belief in Torres. David Luiz is a wonderful player. But he, and I understand Brazil and where they play him and all that. But
what is it then?
He gets caught out. Well, I think firstly it's us. We're jumping on one result. I totally agree with Sean in terms of Newcastle was outstanding. It was a great moment for Pardew, particularly having that word with Cabaye to whip that free kick in for Gouffran. I was there for their Capital One Cup when they lost to Manchester City. But actually they played well, and the fans gave them support. They went off the pitch. So just to place it into a bit of context. Newcastle were good, and actually, Chelsea have been one of the form teams over the last sort of 5-6 weeks. So it's hardly a crisis there. I just think there are one or two doubts creeping in defensively, certainly against pace with the age of some of those players and Luiz's positioning. And I agree with the insipid challenge.
Do you not think that central defensive pairing? I mean, if you look at a lot of successful title-winning sides, they tend to have a first-choice pairing at centre-half. I mean, Mourinho certainly had it when he had Terry and Carvalho. Obviously, Ferdinand and Vidic would have been the same for United. Even, as we mentioned earlier, one of the basis of Arsenal's success this season is that Mertesacker and Koscielny have formed a very good relationship. So this idea that he has that Terry will play and then it seems to be alternating between Cahill and Luiz, I'm not sure that can be particularly productive. Surely, even the Premier League say this is my pairing, and we go with that. You've got to develop an understanding. I mean, Luiz looks like someone who's been told when he does play, centre half alongside John Terry, that he's got to curb his instincts. He can't go forward. He can't take those runs into opposition half, and it's clearly on his mind. So I just think he needs to maybe have that established.
How will that happen? We obviously were talking about England before. We want presumably Cahill to be in there playing alongside Terry from an England point of view, particularly. So then, what do you do with Luiz? Because clearly he doesn't want to play him in midfield, does he?
But you have to make a brave decision, Sean.
But he stood by Luiz on the Barcelona bit.
Arsene Wenger is having to leave out his club captain.
Yeah, I know.
And he's brave enough. He's strong-willed enough to be able to do that. And Mourinho might have to come to the thing where he thinks, well, actually, give Cahill and Terry a run. And if he doesn't play Luiz elsewhere, well, then there's plenty of interest in David Luiz from other clubs.
But he actually
and that's what football management is about.
The Barcelona thing. He said, "I'm not selling to Barcelona. We want him to stay. We believe in him and all of that." When Luiz wasn't sure whether Mourinho did. And Luiz is a very good footballer. It's very difficult to say how you can leave him out. I know he's left Mata out, who's also a very good footballer. But Luiz, I think, is going to be quite a difficult character to deal with if you leave him out of the team.
But you look at Luiz, he doesn't seem a Mourinho centre-half.
No.
He's not a Walter Samuel. No. He's not a John Terry. He has got a mistake
Carvalho,
in him. He's certainly not a Carvalho. No. So what do you do? Do you then... I mean, he's such a good footballer and he's passing and, those runs and everything. Do you play him just in front of the back four? But then you've
not
got
the way he wants to play. You
No.
know, do you?
No. I mean, I also think, just quick on Torres, I think you're right, and I think the fact that he took him off yesterday, you know, just shows that still Torres will always be looking over his shoulder thinking, am I good enough, or what's Jose going to do now?
If only Henry was the manager, he'd be starting every week.
But
never
it
come
was
off.
very,
If I was
very...
manager, they get relegated. But
it seems strange when they need a goal to take Torres
But
out.
Don, it was only sort of 6 days ago. All the headlines were Torres is back.
Yes, I know. Well, I didn't write them, but...
Yeah. I did.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but you did.
Torres is back again.
Torres is back
You
in
were right
super
behind him.
season.
You felt he'd come back, but now you're still casting doubts on him.
No, I think that he's a player that needs to be used.
So he's got to start him all the time, really.
Yeah.
Giroud, if you want. So he has to.
Yeah.
So they have to work around him. So Torres starts all the time.
Coming back to our old friend confidence. You know, you can apply it to Joe Hart, you can apply it to Torres as well. He needs to play.
First time around with Mourinho, there was the famous interview when I think he named 9 of the 11 in the team, said they're untouchable.
Yeah.
How many players in the current Chelsea team would you say are untouchable that he's got his full trust in?
Well, none, according to him yesterday.
As of at the minute, he says that, doesn't he? But I mean, you can't not trust Ashley Cole, can you?
Yeah, Ashley Cole,
who's an
John
absolute
Terry.
Peter
Can
check.
or can't?
You can. I mean,
Right.
you can't not, double negative, sorry. But anyway,
Oscar he trusts.
Cole definitely.
Half a dozen, actually, called the goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper, yeah.
Check,
Terry
Cole,
has
Terry.
He likes Ivanovic.
At right back.
Yeah.
Not as a centre
Not
half,
as centre half,
interestingly.
which is tough on Azpilicueta because he's.
You know, yesterday, I mean, I know we have, you know, paid them their dues. They did play well Newcastle yesterday, and I was impressed by the way the Pardew said they had this game plan to conserve energy for later in the game, you know, which is a bit of a sort of, I don't know whether he was, you know, I don't know whether that, because that's the way it panned out, he sort of claimed the credit for it. It was a bit like when you say, like, Pardew having a word with Kabay. I thought that was hilarious.
Where else were you going to put the ball?
What else was he going to say to him?
The mixer.
And it was like,
back post.
Pardew was like all humble. Oh no, I can't take credit for that. Like, you know, really, yes, give me all the credit you want. You know, bring it on. But really, I mean, what was he saying to him? You know, well, guess what? There's a free kick. Whip it in. Really, what else was he going to do?
Well, I
with it?
think that's a bit harsh.
No, but where else were you going to put that ball?
You could see that.
What else was Kabay going to do with that free
Well, no, he
kick?
was basically saying, we've worked on this at
Kick it
training
into the area.
and look for Buffon.